those two things could ever go together, but I guess they can. I mean, one person said, how have you been married so long? Says, well, I make all the big, my wife makes all the little decisions, I make the big ones, and in 60 years I've never had to make a big decision. But, trying to be funny, go ahead. But Josue, what do you think the challenge is, and what is the crux of the book that you wrote, Married in Real Estate? What is the theme there?
Well, I think the book had to do with a lot of our journey in real estate, what our ups and downs, financial crisis, things that the majority of real estate agents, I think, really don't want to talk about, their struggles and their wins and their losses, So I think that when we wrote this book, we just wanted, we both agreed that the book may not really impact everyone in the real estate business, but it will. Because it's not only towards real estate, it's towards marriage, because it's important that you guys understand that what balance is, how hard it is to really go through any struggles when it comes to the financial side of it, or even just, raising kids, being in the professional business, it's just multiple, how can you say, multiple different types of things that you're moving along together. So when we decided to write this book, we just decided to be very transparent about our lives and what we went through, and be able to show and showcase how important it is that no matter what you're going through, as long as love and respect and kindness and love for each other, and understanding how you're going to be able to overcome situations, and even celebrate your wins, but celebrate them that one night only, and move on, put it aside with you. I heard a coach speak over the weekend. I was at a couples retreat, and he said, when he interviewed Michael Jordan, every single time he wanted an NBA title, he celebrated that night. The next day he grabbed that trophy, he threw it in the case, and he said, that's it. The next day he's back to work. So basically that's the mindset that we all have to live by. No matter what you're going through, you got to get up every single day and act like you're starting all over again every single time.
You guys will get what they want, and you're going to get what you want. Before we move on, have you ever saved a marriage?
It's funny because we've saved some and we've lost some.
Okay, all right, well, I got it.
I'll be honest with you, we've saved some big ones, and I think just by just being part of it, just hearing their stories, I think to me it's like, if I can save every one of them, that's fulfilling to me, but only God knows that. I can't.
Yeah, but I can tell. He's got a passion, folks, don't you think? Round of applause, you think so? It's about the business, but also you got to have some some buy-in, your personality in there as well, and what you love. All right, we have Mr. Ramos, and I hear y'all used to be competitors, I understand. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think funny thing about real estate is that you are built to be a competitor, right? So, and I think that's probably what was wrong with the consumer experience for so many years. My father was a realtor, and I remember him locking his flyer inside his little two-door cabinet with a little key at night because he was afraid someone was going to steal his flyer, right?
Okay.
And I was like, one of the things that we found was that in collaboration, everybody grows. So, at one time, we're competing against the same consumer, but there's a lot of consumers in our realtors. What we learned is that we can collaborate in a way that improves the consumer experience, and by the way, it also improves the agent experience. We all win that.
Okay. I think it's a little mic feedback, so hold a little closer to your mouth and we'll get a little more sound out of that. Now, you have a global, I heard your introduction, you have a global alliance. That sounds pretty big. Tell me about what this global alliance is and how did you get there?
Well, how did I get there? I'll probably start with our home alliance. So, I'm a father of 6 kids. So, I recently just told somebody else, it's like, it's not my fault. My wife has an incredible ovary, we have 2 sets of twins. Beats up the numbers real fast.
Folks, it's men in business, okay? It's men in business.
So with that saying, is that the first business you always got to be home base, right?
Right.
If home works, everything works. And what we've been able to do is create a family where we all kind of know our roles. We all kind of know what it takes for everyone to be happy. And the truth of the matter is that, when you have 6 kids, you have a lot of complexity. And if you can understand how to manage that process and everybody's egos and everybody's personalities, like I can go with my 6 kids and be like, okay, I can say the exact same thing. Go clean your room, 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 go clean your room. One will cry, One will be pissed off at me, one will yell at me, I already cleaned my room, did you already see it? What's wrong with you, blah, blah, blah. Now I get 6 different attitudes, right? It's like when you can conquer that home base in a way that everyone feels loved and supported, you don't always get it right, like you said, sometimes they wake up a different being.
Right.
But if you can conquer that, then building a global organization becomes simple. Because you just give people what they need. And as you mentioned with Zig Ziglar, it's like you do that enough times, you do pretty well.
That's fantastic. We're drilling down, we're going to drill down a little deeper. I'm trying to just get a sense of all these men's personality. And have you ever gone to Josue for the marriage advice thing?
Yeah, it was funny. We had a fireside chat last night. So I think when you get good fellowship between men, something unnatural happens. Where you start cheering and you start, really identifying, issues and here's how I overcame them and here's what I'm going through. We're all going through the same book, right? And it's called life, and some of us are in different chapters, where somebody can go through and say, hey man, I was on that chapter. Here's how I went through that. I think that's the beauty of that fellowship.
Yeah, I really think that some of the things that a lot of men need to understand is it's okay to lean on your friends and your co-workers and things like that that have been there, done that, and don't be shy to reach out and ask for help, whatever is necessary. It's very important. Thank you so much, Gil. We're going to pass it on over. Is it Morad? Is that correct?
Morad, yes, sir.
Morad. Fiki. Interesting last name. Can you give me the origin of that?
Yeah, my dad is from Egypt and my mom is from Venezuela.
Ah, Venezuela. Oh, está de. Yo vivo en Venezuela también. Para Maracay. Se Maracucho.
Qué bueno.
Ok, bueno. Nosotros vas a hablar español está todo el tiempo. Hey, all right. Talented too. Now, what I was told is, you are a top producer and in the inner loop, and inner loop, and I don't know if I'm sure you guys might know, but explain what inner loop is, and then top producer and how you got there, because you said you do it a unique way.
Yeah, definitely. So I live in Memorial, and so here in Memorial, there's the villages. It's kind of like a city within a city. So it has a Houston, Texas zip code, but they have their own police, fire department, own city hall, own mayors, and it's pretty exclusive. At the same time, me going up against a lot of these agents in Memorial, they've been there like 40 years. And so they're just known, man, and they're like deeply entrenched in the community. And I'm like the new kid on the block, so there's times I'm going up against agents that have been there so many years, they're so well known, and people ask me straight up, like, why do I go with you versus, this guy who's been here for 40 years? And my answer is quite simple. It's because, they're great, they're well known in the community, they're going to put the listing on har.com, they're going to wait for the phone to ring, they're going to do the same old, and you need somebody who's well versed in digital marketing, digital advertising. I've built a following on social media, over 200,000 people, because of my powerful content strategy, and because I'm the new thing. I'm on the forefront of what's happening in the digital space. And a lot of these older agents don't really, they're set in their ways, and they're great. I don't knock anyone, but do you want someone who's forward thinking and can bring a whole new layer of people to your beautiful home? Or, on top of everything else? Or do you just want the same old print strategy, har.com? And har.com is a great website, but there's so many more ways we can reach everyone, especially with social media and digital advertising. And that's really the fight that I'm up against. I love that. I love being on top of marketing, advertising, and social media.
Morad, and I have to interject here because when I started this Chamber of Commerce, I didn't want to be this typical Chamber of Commerce ribbon cutting, see you next year for your renewal. We wanted to be truly tangible and on the cutting edge. And I will say for the realtors in the audience and anybody watching, if you're a member of a local chamber, we have events. We have an event page that you can load up your events. And I talk to realtors all the time in our chamber, and I say, I see you out there in the middle of August sticking a sign in the middle of a median, and it might be humid and raining and sweating, and it's an open house, And it's just like, God bless you, you know, that's hard work. It really is.
Yeah.
But I said, if you had posted that on my website or through the chamber, I blasted out to 40,000 people in the whole area, and it's an event, and say, I'm having a wine and cheese party at this address, come and look at this beautiful new home. You might have people just kicking tires or whatever, and if you have 200-300 people show up because they just want the wine and cheese, there's probably 200 or 300 of their friends that might be looking for a home. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So find a way to attract more flies with honey and offer that. But with your Facebook, I'm interested, we're going to dig a little deeper into that strategy because I have some things I do with KPOI, which is key person of influence. But do you do anything else besides the Facebook? Are you?
Oh yeah. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter.
Okay.
My YouTube channel just got monetized.
Yeah, you're speaking gold now.
So,
yes,
yeah,
sir.
I mean, I believe in putting out content and flooding the airwaves because different strokes for different folks. You have people who are on LinkedIn and they're not on Facebook. And I know people who love Twitter, they're on Twitter, and they're not on Facebook.
Right.
And then now with TikTok, you're getting a whole new audience and it's a different content strategy. But I just love to flood the airwaves and get content out there, build a following, and reach people in ways that your old school agent who's been around for 40 years isn't.
I'll tell you, I'll give you a little advice that I've learned. I've been on this journey called International Speaking and Speaking Dubai and that sort of thing. It's called KPOI. I mentioned a minute ago, key person of influence. And people say, how do I become a key person of influence? You want to dominate. You, Morad, want to dominate. When people look up real estate in your area, you're everywhere. I'm sure you guys, they look up your name, you're everywhere. And what I learned is that if you really want to start, you need to post a picture of yourself with some kind of inspirational saying or something with your picture with somebody else of influence. And every day on 3 platforms at least, you need to post on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Pinterest of all things. And that will get you indexed faster. And if you put your name in hyphens, like Morad-Fiki, and then in parentheses, here I am with the governor of Texas, or here I am with some mover and shaker, guess what? You get indexed even faster. And did you know on LinkedIn, you can now put up to 5 pictures under your comments? Pictures get indexed even quicker. So guess what? Next thing you know, you do that for 120 days straight. I guarantee you will dominate the airways.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get into that. Did somebody get something out of it? I love what you're doing. I really do.
Thanks.
All right, let's head. I think he's got to.
How many subscribers is the when you reach your paid stage on YouTube? It's very
To monetize, you need a minimum of 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. Meaning people have actually watched your videos for 4,000 hours. It seems like a big milestone, but it's not really that hard to hit when you're doing it correctly. I'm just at 7,500 subscribers and I have about 400,000 hours of watch time. So you want to put out content, but you want to put out content that also resonates, that interests people. On my YouTube channel, I want to entertain people.
There you go.
You know, so yeah, don't just be the schmuck who's like, oh, I'm with Keller Williams and call me. Like, no one cares. Like, do something entertaining and interesting and exciting. So like I did a reality show called $1 Million Agent, and we did a few episodes of that, and it was just crazy stuff. Like, going to different parties and having fun. It's like a reality show, and so people love that stuff.
And I don't want to say self-deprecation or self-mocking in some ways will get you more people laughing with you instead of at you. My brother happens to be the local captain of the Fulshire Police Department. He has one of these videos, 60 million views, 60 million views.
Wow.
And all it was is he had one of his cops on donut day pull him over and he says, can I get out a ticket? He says, well, here's a donut. And he became known as the donut cop. And people in Australia are calling and asking about this guy. So, think outside the box and get fun and everything. So good job. I like it a lot. All right, Ben, good question. You must trade your seats. But Ben, what do you think? This And as old as I am, many of you may not recall the show Flipper. There used to be one about a dolphin named Flipper. Did you know that?
No.
Okay. Well, go on YouTube, and then you can find it, and that could be your first YouTube thing. It's like, hey, I'm Ben. I'll flip your house and show Flipper. I mean, hey, there's an idea for you. I don't know.
I don't know if anybody wants to hear those words. I'm gonna flip your house.
Well, we'll flip you off. Whatever. Okay, so Ben, you're a local man right here, and you're just a realtor, and then you decide to jump into the world of solving problems for people who own homes and flip their homes. Am I right? Problem solver.
Yes. I guess that, yes, I am known as a flipper. It's probably because I have a networking event called Flip Texas.
Okay.
We have a Facebook page and a pretty good sized networking event where we have agents, investors, all different types of people in the real estate industry. And so, yeah, that's probably why I'm known as a flipper. Also do some other things as well, some buy and hold properties, do some wholesaling as well. Yeah, it's all about, I know earlier you were asking me what our ideal client is.
Yeah.
But it's, sometimes as an agent, we put a box into, it's always very important to think about, to put a box around, who your ideal client is. So, where's your farm? Where are you doing your open houses at? Et cetera, et cetera. But also as an investor, we're not just working with, some rundown house that's every once in a while. I mean, I'm sure every realtor in here gets calls from some of their clients like, hey, I'm considering this cash offer from this company, what do you think? Or, hey, I have an offer from this company, what do you think? There's a lot of very sophisticated sellers we've worked with. We've done, some big deals, some houses over 500,000, multiple houses over 500,000, some small commercial deals with more sophisticated sellers. A lot of times it's pleasant working with the more sophisticated people because, they understand the process a little bit more, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of different circumstances, like you said, yes, divorce. We have a lot of people that...
You think some may be motivated by a marriage factor, a job, maybe moving out of town, have to move today, or something like that?
Yeah, we get calls every day from people that have to relocate for their work immediately. And I mean, the market used to, you used to be able to put up your house, and in the first week, you'd get,
right.
The first week, you'd have people knocking down your door. And there are some certain sellers too that are becoming, thinking, hey, let me just, I'm going to contact 3 investment companies on Google, like I know we were talking about Google, and I'm going to take the highest offer, and that's what I'm going to do. And we're here to educate people, on the process as well. And it's just, really another option. I always tell people the highest amount they would get for their commercial or residential property is really to get it with that top, broker agent in their area that's going to do, get the most traffic on it, get the lighting right for the pictures, get the staging, which I think is very important right now. I'm actually trying to get hooked up with Trisha on the staging.
Honeybee?
Yes.
So let me say, real quick, keep your success, because as a lay person in this area, I would think of somebody as the flipper, the house flipper that comes by or whatever, because I get bombarded. I had a call today, hey, are you thinking about selling your house? I already did it, But they can cause a bad reputation for the whole industry, some of them can. Is that not right? Do you have to kind of overcome that?
I would agree with that. There are, I used to think that every time you buy a property, you get title insurance, that the title company's here to help you, they're here to make sure everything goes right. And if you've done a lot of transactions, if you bought a lot of houses, you understand that titles bust, things happen. I've, seen plenty of crazy stuff, and it's very important, yes, that you're working with a reputable company. There's agents too. I've gotten calls from agents that the seller's house is in foreclosure, and they're like listed at $400,000, the foreclosure date's in 2 weeks, and you know, the retail value of the property is like $300,000, and they're just doing the seller a disservice. So I think there's, you know, bad wholesalers or investors out there where they get the expectations wrong. I think in any business you're in, the expectations are just vitally important. And it has to do with the longevity of your business. I know we were talking about reviews. Whatever business you're in, the goal is to treat them so well that you have repeat, you know, able to have repeat clients, or if you called someone on Christmas and said, hey, you know, do you have any family members that you know, for your business that they would be able to give you that referral?
There are great reviews is another thing, and sometimes you have to be careful. Testimonials over reviews, they can get very confusing out there in the world. And if you use testimonials in your website, that can be looked as advertising, and you've got to be very careful. So look up some of that. I'm sure you guys have that as well. But thank you. We'll move to Dowd, and we'll come back. There's been everybody. How about that? All right, my good friend Dowd. I love this guy. He's always branded. He's looking good. Always has Mr. President on his shirt. Branding is his body. He has an 18-wheeler truck. You still call it the Beast, I don't you? I named it the Beast because he's the president. The president's car, the ride is the Beast.
Right, the president rides on the Beast.
Yes, Dowd has a wonderful story, and maybe to get to know you a little bit, because we're going to get into what you do, you know, across. I just brag on this guy so much because I remember I was sitting at a B&I sometime, and he was ready to take water to something in Louisiana, and he says, it cost about, I said, how much it cost for a tank of gas? Next thing you know, we bought all the gas for him to go take water out there. Couldn't buy the water.
Sure did. Yeah.
Give us your 411, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, I thought I was the only African on this seat here, and I found out he's African too. Egyptian brother. How you doing, man? Anyway, my name is Dowd Khan. I'm actually from a place called Gambia. It's Africa's smallest country. It's very tiny. You're going to need a microscope to see where it is, believe me. But anyway, so I'm about 5,000 miles away from home, but Houston has been my home for the last 23 years. I met my wife here. My kids were all born here. I started my business here. I sort of just grew up here. With the relationships I've built through the years, this place is just amazing. A little bit about my story. I'm the middle child of 7 kids. You think your dad was the only one with a lot of kids? You have no idea. But that's an African thing, right? They tend to have a lot more kids than most people. But I was the middle child. I have 3 older brothers and 3 baby sisters. So, just like most people, I mean, I feel that that place was too small for me. There was nothing much going on. And I've always had the dream of moving to the United States. Nowhere else. Because I don't know who does the marketing over here overseas. They do a great job. And just like coming to America, I choose Houston instead of New York. And I haven't regretted it at all. The crazy thing about it, when I landed in New York, I got into a Greyhound bus. I was in the bus for 3 months. Sorry, for 3 days. But the crazy thing I saw is when I landed in Houston was a black dude on a horse with a cowboy hat. So I realized I'm in Texas. But it's just been wonderful. But again, that's really who I am. But I'm a lot more to that. I'm a father. I'm a business owner. I hire about 28 people that work for me as a company, and all those people have families. But because of the relationship I've built through the years and the people I've gone that have really supported us from day one, you know, Trisha and all kinds of folks around here, that has really allowed us to build our company from one single truck to where we are right now, where we have 8 box trucks and 2 18-wheelers, where we can go everywhere in the lower 48. And again, 80% of our business is still word of mouth. And so this means a lot to us. And that's just, we just build it from one relationship at a time. So
I tell you, I'm going to dovetail on that one of the most common themes, if you haven't noticed amongst all these gentlemen up here, was relationships. And every one of us are in the business of some business, somehow, some way, and we're always concerned about ROI, return on investment. Good friend of mine, Jack Marketing, says that's nothing unless you have ROR, and that's return on relationships. And from Josue all the way across the couch to here, every one of you mentioned relationships and building relationships, and that will get you further than anything. Don't ever step on anybody's back to get somewhere else. There's my little preaching right there. But when you are the quintessential American dream, Dowd, in my opinion, you know, you came here with little or nothing, if I recall, and your story, and it just shows you that sometimes people ask, you know, I've lived overseas most of my life, many of you guys have traveled, and my dad did oil rigs around the world, and they said, what is the best country you ever lived in? I said, man, right here, you don't know how good, you got it right here. And Dowd, tell us, when you came to Houston, and how did you even think about getting into the moving business, and where did the name come from? I'm kind of curious about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I started Yo Move in 2008, 2009. If you guys are in the real estate market, you know what happened back then. So what I was doing is really associated with real estate. I was not selling homes, but like it's affected by the market. So we got laid off. All of us did. And when I was going to college, I did some moving. So the only thing I could think of, I said, well, I mean, I think I can do this again. So I lost 75% of my retirement, my 401k. I was told not to take the rest of the money. I said, what do I have to lose? So I took it. They charged me taxes and all of it. I took all that money because I didn't have any money. So I took that money, I bought my first truck. The truck was only 12 years old. Her name was Betsy. But with that truck, I was the driver, I was the mechanic, I was the salesperson. I did everything that I needed to do to build the business from where it was, because nobody was hiring. Business was difficult to get at that point. But again, I focused on relationships, you know, one client at a time. I was reading this book where this gentleman said, life is built around these three letters, where it said B, C, and D. B is when you're born, and D is when you die. C is the choices that you make when push comes to shove. And at that point, married with 2 kids, I had no choice. I had to do something to support my family. And I have no option but to keep pushing. And but again, like I said, because I was pushing myself, help was coming along. I was building these relationships. I was working with one client at a time, one relationship at a time. I've had some people that have been calling me since then to move them. Some people I haven't heard from in 5, 6, 7 years, and they would call me because of the relationship we had. But again, so from Betsy all the way to for the first 6, 7 years, I didn't make any money. I really didn't. I was losing money, but I stayed focused. I could have given up a long time ago, go back at a 9 to 5, but I didn't want to go back because I tasted this, and it was just, this is what I wanted to do. It was fulfilling to me. And so about 2015, 16, I started seeing the profit. I started building, from the profit from one truck to another, then hiring extra help. The help keep coming and the relationships keep growing. And then, it just slowly just kind of climbed from that stage. And then it's amazing what ended up happening from a kid that just basically, even the airline ticket that I purchased to come over here was loaned to me. I couldn't even afford an airline ticket. So I had $250 in my pocket when I landed in New York. I spent the $200 on a bus pass to New York. So the $40 I spent it on food all the way here. The last $10 I had, I called my mom on a phone card. For you kids that don't know what a phone card is, back in the day, you use that to tell her I'm here. So I had $1 in the dream. And because of the place that I ended up, I was lucky enough to build on that dream to turn it to what it is today. I still have a long way to go, but I'm grateful for where I am right now.
God bless you. I love it. That's it. I love your focus. And so this next round of questions, gentlemen, I want to kind of get into a little bit about focus and what do you think the biggest driver of your success has been? So Josue, you're tremendously successful. You're an author. You and your wife are very successful. And I know sometimes success can get in the way of your focus, right? We want to go play play with what we've earned, I guess. But how do you stay focused, and what do you think is one of the biggest things that have made you most successful in your life?
Well, the thing that made me successful I've always been a very competitive person since the age of 5. I always wanted to be a professional baseball player. I used to bleed, sleep, dream of just being a baseball player. So since I was very young, my dad would tell me, man, I don't think you ever wanted to drop a ball, you know. So I took that same competitive, man, all through my young ages to high school, and even to the day I got drafted by the Pirates. You know, I think that when I got to the majors, well, AAA, I realized that, you know, I had to be a little bit more competitive in order for me to even stay in that type of level. So that's when my mindset really changed, and when I was really, I think that when we all go through trials, man, at that point, I was at that point ready to go to the majors. I broke my leg in 3 places. And I think when we realized that at that time, the medical technology is not that wasn't that advanced like it is now. You can come back with an ACL injury in like a couple of months. So when you realize that, you know, I think that was my downfall. That was my lowest points in my career, that I realized that, damn, what am I going to do next, man? You know, I just gave up. I just gave up a full-ride scholarship to one of the D1 high-rated schools in the nation for baseball, which is UNC, to sign a professional contract that only really paid me like $24,000 a year back then. I mean, guys, we're talking early 80s. I'm not that young. Now you got these young kids signing up at number 1.5. You know, let's just talk. I don't even want to talk about that.
I want to make you mad.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But you know, I think that at that time I realized, like, damn, you know, am I going to sit on this couch for another year with this brace on, or I'm just going to get up and just really shake this off and move on. So, and that's what I did. I just shook it off, went back to college, got my degree in 3 years. So when you go there, you move into the South, it's completely different. You know, that's the right to work state. So you're looking at.
You had to change your accent a little bit.
Well, I mean, but at the same token, you know, I think to me it was like the biggest change in my life, because it made me a better person. You learn so much of yourself.
It's all right. It's all right. It's what it's about. I think what I detect is a level of bravery that a lot of people, the bravery it took for Dowd to with $250, for God's sakes, to be in New York City.
Yeah.
And then the bravery to make that choice.
Yeah. Excuse me, but you learn so much of yourself.
Yeah, you really do. God puts you where He needs you, and I promise you, yeah.
And excuse me, in those moments, you learn so much of yourself, and you realize that there's bigger things out there, just like yourself. You just gotta push yourself.
Yep.
Don't give up.
Yep.
Well, I think, and not to get on a religious type thing, but as a Christian, I know that you're given certain talents. All you got to do is go out and find out what they are and put them to work. You know, I think that's.
And I tell you, one thing that my father-in-law said to me, he served the Lord for 50 years, he said, you know what, as proud as I am of you ever being a baseball player, I'm more proud of you that you would never met my daughter.
Wow.
So,
That's fantastic.
she's
All right. Okay, I made one man cry today, so Gil, get ready. Same question, Gil. You're tremendously successful. You're global. You got a large family. You got things probably happening and swirling around you all the time. But you got to stay focused on the business. Got to stay focused on that income. But first off, what is the one thing that got you there, and how do you stay focused?
Yeah, so I think that most people would probably make an assumption who've watched me and say, man, this guy's mobile, he's just super focused on his business, and he's just non-stop, and I used to be that guy. And I learned in the Fortune 500 companies I worked for was that those guys die early. You know, at the end of the movie, they don't show you that, right? They said, you watch those Wall Street movies, and those guys are just bleeding every single day, corporate. They don't show you behind the curtain that they tend to be miserable. And I learned early on. I'm 50 years old right now. I was blessed to kind of learn these leadership mentality from, mentors who have been through those chaptures with me. And I realized who I wanted to be as a man, as a father, as a husband. And I realized that the most valuable thing that you have is your time. And the time that you're going to give to your family and what you're doing all these things. So what I realized was that I can be super focused for small periods of time. And I could outwork people who would be working all day long. Right? And I realized that between 7 to 9 a.m., I was more productive than most people who ran throughout the day, who came to the office and ate donuts, had lunch and extended lunches, and they would drink throughout the day, and they would go through and they'd go home late to their families and stuff like that, because I could work in a short period of time. So what I really found out was that being a kind of a peak performance specialist, if you will, right? It's like, how do I get as much time, like down to a minute? What can I do? I had a boss, I was just telling you a story yesterday, where we it was like, what can you get done in 4 minutes?
Question.
And the reality is that you can get a lot done. As a man, you can get a lot done in 4 minutes. You can tell your wife you love her, right? As a man, you can go out there and spend 4 minutes with a child, and that child will smile. And that's all they really want, right? In 4 minutes, you can lock down a deal, call a customer, and follow up with them. In 4 minutes, you can do a lot of customers. Hey, so I'm thinking about you, blah, blah. If you leave a voicemail, great. And they can layer a few more into the calls in the stories, because they'll pick up the message later. But it was already delivered. 4 minutes, I can send a video to someone and let them know some feedback. In 4 minutes, I can do a lot of things. So I can layer through 4 minutes in there that what I call dollar productive activities, right? So
Say that one more time, because dollar what?
what I call DPAs, dollar productive activities. So, for most people, the only thing that's dollar productive is being in front of a client, right? And asking them questions. And I believe curious people make more money, right? So if I can ask you a question about where are you right now, and where you want to be, and if I can help you solve that problem, there's opportunity for me. So, and in there I've been able to carve a life where, I've got pretty good balance, I would say. I don't work the hours I used to, and it's not because, I made it by any standards, because I'm growing every single year. My goal was to double or triple. The truth of the matter is that just be more productive, because if not, what happens is you show up for the day, you feel guilty, at the end of the day, you try to rob your family's time by trying to work on work that you should have worked on other times. So, to me, that's been very, very successful.
I almost would venture to say that the support that you get from your family for that is so encouraging when you do go focus and say, I know my family's there for me, and they're so happy that you get that energy just is probably just overwhelming, right?
Yeah, I can tell you, one heartbreaking thing for you is that, as a man, you pressure cooker schedule, right? And you check your calendar all the time. And, if you go on your calendar, maybe one day your kid will look over your calendar, or your wife might look at your calendar, and they're looking at all these different things. Meeting Susan at 11 a.m. for a consultation, and Tommy for 12 o'clock. They don't see their name on your calendar. And I'm telling you that that's a devastating feeling for not just them to know that they're not important. The one thing you look at every single day, and you judge, what you're doing today based on your calendar. Is I talk about this concept of lovecations, right? Making sure that that your significant other always knows that no matter how busy you get, this time is carved out for you. Right?
That's awesome.
So we take a lot of vacations a year. Now, we don't take all our vacations with our kids. Right? When we go on vacation with our kids, it's a little bit of work, right?
Yeah.
We're there to serve them, make sure they're having all the activities, stuff like that. We have 6 kids, okay, I'm gonna leave early so I can get in the line at the restaurant. So it's really a good table. There's 8 of us, right? It's hard to get 8 first table. So we're constantly navigating that around to make sure that they have a magical moment, right? But if we take 11 vacations a year, 7 of them are with my wife.
That's really
That's
neat.
my missing work.
I think what I hear more than I love the 4 minute. I love that. What can you do in 4 minutes? I think there's a T-shirt for you, Tricia. It's give me 4 minutes, and I'll shoot you.
I'm pretty sure some of those kids are maybe 4 minutes.
But I kind of get it from you. That's really good. Time blocking.
Maybe 8.
Maybe 8. This is the man show.
They were twins, right? It's the twins.
Okay, I'm not gonna go into it. But I hear time blocking and try to give everybody some ideas of time blocking, and that's Sunday somehow. I still use a handwritten calendar. Anybody still use it's not all on my phone. I mean, because I like to see the whole month. And then maybe leave it open. That's a good idea. See, you're in it. Good job, Gil. Well, let's hear it for Gil. That's fantastic. Tricia, tell me on this time thing. I don't know what time. We're good. Okay. All right, Mr. Fiki. We're going to ask you the same question. You know, you're extremely busy with all your social media and all the things that you're doing because that can tie up a lot of time. And there are some businesses that spend a lot of money with a third party to do that for them. I get that maybe you probably do it yourself or you have other folks do it, but how do you stay focused and what do you attribute your success to? The one thing you contribute your success to?
Staying focused, definitely putting in time where you can also, carve out some time for yourself is very important. Because if you're just like go, and it's easy to do that, I realize you've got to take care of yourself first. So I wake up early, I get my workout in, and that's my time. Like my phone is on Do Not Disturb till 8:30 a.m. So if I'm up at 5:30, I'm at the gym by 6, and I'm listening to good podcasts, positivity, listening, putting things in my mind, and then getting a great workout, and that's all me taking care of myself first. And then I can serve everyone else. And you made a great point, like you've got to carve out time for your family and make sure that that's paramount because, I don't have 6 kids, I got 4. But like 4 kids is a lot, man. I don't know, this is incredible right here, but it's the same thing, each one of them has their own individual personality and it's very important that they know they care, that I care and I'm interested in how their day went. And what are they dreaming about? What are they passionate about? So I have a 13-year-old, a 8-year-old, 6-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And yeah, the 13-year-old's about to turn 14 this year. He loves basketball. He just wants to play basketball. So, he's on his school basketball team and they're not giving him enough play time. And so we're putting him in another league to get another perspective, and I told him, and he doesn't like his coach on this basketball team, but I told him, life is not always going to give you the great coach or the great teacher. You're also going to have, shitty coaches and shitty teachers. How do you deal through that? And I'm not saying that, you just buckle and say, well, he's not letting me play. You got to work hard. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. But did he quit or did he work harder than he's ever worked and prove to them that they made a mistake cutting him?
Right.
And so, same thing with him. I want them to learn life lessons, but at the same time, like, hey, if you want to get another coaching perspective and another team and get more reps in, we'll help you out with that. The 8-year-old and 6-year-old, they love soccer. They don't really care about basketball. We put them in all the sports. So they can find them. Right now the World Cup is going on. Oh man, they're watching every game. And they love soccer. And so it's like, soccer season passed for the league they were in, but we just found another league that plays year round. And it is intense. Like, they are grooming kids to go pro, and they had to go try out. And it's like, hey, if that's what you want to do it, but it's going to be intense. You got to dedicate yourself. So I've learned that, my father abandoned me when him and my mom got divorced and I was 7. He took off and hasn't been in the picture since. And so I don't want to be that guy, who wasn't there for his kids. I want to be a great friend, mentor, father, and although I don't always have it right, I'm learning. I'm a product in process of learning how to be a better father. I didn't have a great father example. But that also taught me what I don't want to be. And I want to be there for them and be, dedicate time. So, it's so easy in this business to be like, man, I'm so busy. I don't have any time. But my wife was like, you should coach their basketball team. So I signed up for that. I ended up coaching one of their baseball teams. And these leagues are so happy when you volunteer to coach because this is a volunteer job. Oh yeah, you got it, And I'm like, man, like, do this. But she's like, I'll help you. You know, I'll send out all the emails to the parents. This would be great. And now I'm coaching both their basketball. I just finished coaching the football team, and 7-on-7 flag football. And I was like, when that was over, I was like, man, that's great. We had 2 practices a week and a game. And it was like, but it also makes me take a step back from the business and be like, look, I've done a lot right now. I need to like get my mind off this and like spend some time with my family, spend some time with my kids, be there for them, coach them in football, soccer, baseball, basketball, whatever. You know, whatever they're interested in at the moment, but take an interest in their lives. And so that's something I've found that, you know, in the beginning you think, I don't have time for this, but then you make the time and you see how much valuable it is, and then you see that you're even more productive and you feel better when you are working, because you're like, I do not sell out my family ever. So my family is paramount to me, and then, you know, I'm gonna excel in business even more because I take care of home.
You know, and I think you self-prophesize there just for a second. The lessons that you're teaching your children, go out and work harder. If you're not happy, change it, do something different, and work harder. Well, that's what you did in your real estate business. You were in a situation dealing with the old school and the established school, and you decided to find a better way to try something different and put 100% effort into that, and that has now pole vaulted you over those folks.
Oh, absolutely.
You're the Michael Jordan of the inner loop.
I love that. And absolutely. There was this one agent been in my neighborhood for 40 years, and I went up against her like 3 times. She got the listing every time. Because the old school, they're like, well, you know, so-and-so, we know her, we knew her when we were kids and all this. And I was like, dude, I'm going to dominate social media. These people are going to open Facebook and see my face every effing time. You know, and maybe they didn't hire me, but they're going to be like, dude, I can't get rid of this guy. And let them hit my website. I'm going to have a retargeting ad that just follows them all over social media, everywhere they go. I'm going to terrorize them.
Okay, but maybe not the word of the day, but
so that just motivated me to, you know, I'm going to push. And then I do meet with people who are like, dude, I see you everywhere.
That's what we're talking, and we were talking, and that's what we were talking about earlier about the, you know, key person of influence and trying to get out there and dominate the social, not the airwaves, but the internet waves or the interwebs. That's where it's at. You got to be there, and when they click and you're doing it, and you know these little bits of advice, go do a few studies, go look it up, and it takes nothing. And there's local organizations that you can be. If you're part of, like, say, the local Rotary Club. I don't know if any of you guys are Rotarians, or the Lions Club, or these social organizations in the community. They get you plugged in. You're out at events doing things for the community, and people get to know who you are. And then guess what? They have their own social domination out there. The local BNIs, all the networking groups. Don't be afraid to get out there and be known, okay? Because so what? If you don't want to be known, you go somewhere, and I don't know if there's anywhere in the world you can hide out and nobody know who you are.
I need to get known. I need to put my content out there. I need people to see me, and I'm just going to hit this like a sledgehammer. So how do I get known? And I know I'm in the long game. As long as I continue to be seen and I'm known, and I can reach people through social media in ways that never has before happened. You know, I can pay them to put me in front of people that I want to be in front of. So, you know, it's amazing. As opposed to making phone calls, you should make phone calls. Not saying you shouldn't make phone calls, but I found it way more an effective use of my time when I do an ad and I can reach, you know, 50,000 people versus me picking up the phone. How long would it take me to call 50,000 people?
All day.
And so, yeah.
Good, and that same attitude, when your kids make it to the next level in basketball, you're going to tell them how to dominate on social media too. Let's look at this basketball player, right?
Yeah, I'm going to represent them when
There you go.
a deal.
He's the agent. Yeah, there you go. Tom Cruise. There's that movie. Yeah. What was the name of that movie? I forgot. Where Tom Cruise was in sports agent.
Jerry Mccoy.
Jerry Mccoy. There you go. Right. The new show. Dude, dudes talking movies are.
Show me what.
We'll talk about the Notebook when the girls aren't here. Okay. All right, then, same question. What is, how do you stay successful and focused on what you do every day? And then how do you attribute your success to what was the biggest contributing factor to your success?
I don't work out here every day, but every once in a while, at least every 3 weeks, I go to this gym. It's called Alpha Elite.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, no, it's Alpha Land now. It's Alpha Land now.
Is that with,
His name's Christian Guzman. He has
Yeah.
like millions of followers on social media. Same thing. I mean, he wasn't making anything for a long time until he got that traction on social media. Now he can sell whatever he wants. Anyways, but on the wall there at Alpha Land, they have, it says proud but not satisfied. And I would say proud and thankful but not satisfied is, it's paramount. It was years ago I started doing these things called 75 Hard, where you have all these rules and it gets you, it really turns up kind of your drive inside you, and it helps you get more confident and kind of proud with what you're doing. And so I've always been working out for, ever since I became a business owner in real estate. So that's always obviously very important. But thing number 2 is I've developed this gift or this knack for putting myself in rooms where I'm the smallest person. So I'm in this mastermind right now with this guy that I started purchasing properties with maybe 4 years ago. His name's James Toller, out of Clear Lake area, and I didn't have any money to purchase this property, and basically we partnered up on a deal. He brought his money, we bought the property together, and ever since then, I've just been leveling up my relationships, and now I'm in a mastermind. The lowest man on the totem pole has a net worth of $3 million, and I'm not there at $3 million net worth, but it makes me, on a lot of these areas, it makes me, almost, hey, I gotta level my stuff up. And even I was blessed to meet and have a little relationship with Del Walmsley right now. I don't know if you'll know this, but there's a little investor here in the Houston area. His name's Del Walmsley. He's been purchasing apartments for the last 40 years here in Houston. He won multiple Houston Apartment Association awards. And I met him through fitness. I met him through the gym. And with most of these guys would agree with this. He told me, he said, don't ever be ashamed at being the best at what you do. And he is so aggressive with it and so over the top with just waking up every day and being the best at what you do. Because, I know you said God, He's given us so much that there's a certain level of respect there to, do your best, to be your best. When we live in the best country, in the world. We have so much, and you need to respect that.
That's good. That's fantastic. How about that? Is everybody getting something out of this? Really? Good. I just want to make sure that we might have, I don't know if we have time for a question or two, but we'll get there. All right, now, focus. This is, you got a lot of employees, I know, and they're all spread across the country. I don't know how you keep tabs on that, but focus on your business. But I think I know what was your driving force, or what made you so successful. The one thing you did, and that was, of course, you're never say die attitude. I get that. If I'm wrong, correct me. But then also, how do you stay focused on your business and what you attribute your success to?
Well, I'm a great bird for starters. So I really, like I said, I do have to work out every day. I get up before Jesus and everybody else. But if you start early, you can get a lot more done before people start catching you during the day. But again, I'm very family oriented. I do have 5 kids. Last week, my wife had a baby. So this week, it's balance that dealing with, you know, not only the guys, but your clients and your relationships, right? If something goes, we're not perfect. I'm not sitting over telling you that we're the greatest thing since sliced bread, but one thing that, be rest assured, like if you set us with a frog, if something goes wrong, we will fix the problem. For me, relationships are more important than money. Money's always going to come. That's just part of the process. But it's the relationships that you build through the years that just like that, you can lose it because of whether it's selfishness, whether it's greed, whether it's just lack of not understanding the importance of that relationship you built. I've been working hard for a long time, but I try to balance that, that family life as well as business life. During COVID, we managed to get our own commercial property, which we have a storage facility now on. Cost me a lot of money, but the storage and everything that we have in there pays for the property like, I don't know, tenfold, because like that was something I wanted to do. So every year I set these goals and I try to achieve them. Even if I don't hit them, you know, that doesn't discourage me. I just push myself and like, you know what, hey, fine. You came up short, it's not the end of the world, get your shit together, excuse my French, and then go back out there and then go get it. But as a father, when it comes back to it, my kids mean the world to me. But also I always remember like the opportunity that I got right now to, I mean, when I moved to Houston, I live in Shopstown. That's as ghetto as it gets. So from there, building from one neighborhood to another, one apartment to another, one block to another, one bus stop to another, all the way to Katy, to Fulshire, where I can put my kids in some of the best schools Texas has to offer. It's beyond me. But again, it's the dream that I had, but I had no idea how to achieve it. But what I did is like I stayed the course and then I just keep pushing because I believe in relationships. I believe in just trust. I believe in like, you know, that I wanted to mention this like, you know, I want to cry, but I'll get it together. Like I'll give it my father, for example. My father's like about 85 years old right now. For the last almost 30 years, my father would not laugh. Not like he doesn't have a sense of humor, but he has his, basically he didn't have like teeth and stuff like that. So he was struggling with that, so he would hide that all the time. And this past year, this is crazy. So I managed to put some money together and then bought him basically full mouth, full grill, right? And you can't have an old man to stop laughing now. Look, my dad was a handsome cat when he was young. He was just, you know, had a big fro and all that stuff. He had it going. But then sometime between like, I don't know, in his 40s, and he just let himself go. But like now, the fact that I can do certain things for my parents now, and my mother would actually always tell me, I love all my kids, but I'm so proud of you, of the man that you are. I don't know how you managed to just pull yourself together, get yourself this far. But she said, I raised you well, because my mom never went to school. She never sat in a class, not once. But she managed to raise all 7 of us, practically by herself, because my dad was always away. Not because he didn't want to be around, because of the card he was dealt, that he had to go away to just find work. So we were just stuck with my mom. So if I tell you I appreciate the little things in life, I really do, because it's important. And like I said, one step at a time, and it has gotten me this far after 14 years. And I have no doubt in the next 14 years, myself right now will be so proud of what I've achieved in the next 14 years, but I can't do it without the relationship I've had. So I value it, I honor it, and I appreciate it, because what you appreciate appreciates in life. So thank you very much for giving me the time here, and then, you know, I love you, my friend, so I appreciate this time, and then I'm so grateful for each and every one of you that sat over there just to listen to what I have to say, but that means a lot to me, and I couldn't have done it. My life is not possible anywhere in this world nowhere. I don't care where it is, whether it's from Gambia where I'm from or China. It's only possible in this place called the United States. So, believe me, if you don't know what you got,